We're welcoming everybody here to our YouTube Live. We'll get started here in just a minute. Good afternoon, everybody. I want to start welcoming you here to our Gov School today. We're going to be talking about writing the RFP response. Get started here just a couple minutes after the hour, and if you don't mind, maintaining your mute status until you have a question. Then you can open that up and ask a question. That just helps everybody with the background, and so it's important that we help everybody fully hear and understand what we're doing today. This session is going to be broadcast live on YouTube, so you can watch it later. That means it's being recorded for your privacy reasons. I'll just let everybody just a few minutes here. So it'll be a smaller session today, so thank you for coming. Anticipate today will take probably about a full hour. I usually stay with you as long as you have questions. As long as folks are still coming in, I'm going to hold off just a second. You're on YouTube Live. I don't monitor that channel, but you can ask questions here and we'll respond to it after this session. You can tap online, though, if you've got the email and see it's on Zoom. And here is an interactive session. Chat box is open if you want to drop in some information about the company. I'll try to build comments back into that area. Know that we typically do not ask questions there, and it is an open chat, so please monitor that with for your own privacy reasons. So give maybe just a couple more minutes. Just got people waiting in the waiting room. You are knocked off for any reason, just tap back on there. You should be able to come back on, and I'm continuously monitoring. But I don't think I have to let you back in the second time you come. We do this for once again to make sure that the room is closed for security reasons. So here we are at 4:02. Let's go ahead and get started. I think it's good for all those who come promptly. I appreciate it. My name is Mark Knowles. I'm sitting here in my home office this afternoon. I'm going to spend some time with you talking about RFP responses. I'm going to introduce you to some concepts that I've used in my career. You can see I've been here for a while, and I've been doing this for now. Really, I think I told somebody earlier, I think the first project I worked on was back in 1988, maybe 1989. And so let me just check here. Occasionally I'll get comments. I want to make sure that everybody's got access and can hear. Okay, good. Just give me one more second here. People are still coming in. So I've been doing it a while, and I'd like to share with you some of the experience that I've gained. I'm one of the founders of RFP Delivery, govdirections.com. We launched our primary site in 2006, and more recently, RFP Delivery in last year uses some new intelligence methods and ways to pinpoint to make sure we put the right opportunity in front of you, as well as to build in our Gov School more and Gov Advice series in a better way, so we can make sure we incorporate the capability statement in the RFP writing. It's not only just about finding the bid for you, but it's also about helping you understand what's necessary to win that bid. And so today I want to spend some time with you talking about the process of winning. And I have a little slideshow here that I'll walk through. Our primary objective is responding to the RFP, and I'm helping you with some concepts related to that. If you, as we go on through this today, if you got some questions, post those in the chat box. I'll get to those. If you have something urgent, just raise your hand, technically speaking, and I'll call on you, or open up your mic, and I'll be glad to try to, and you can interrupt you with this size crowd. If we get to many more, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. But if you have questions, it's important to answer them for you. I'm not allowing the recording today. It is going to be recorded on YouTube Live, so you can download that as soon as this is over with. It'll be there for you. Because we have other people in the room, and I want to make sure they feel comfortable asking questions and so forth, and that's not captured in other systems. GovSchool is a service that we launched early on. We recognize that if we teach and we educate, then we can help you more successfully win bids. In fact, our overriding philosophy of our organization, the primary mission is to, that old proverb, you'll see it in the presentation today, I think I use this, but it's the concept of, if you give a person a fish, then you feed them for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. And that's what we try to do, is to help you understand how these processes work, so you don't necessarily rely on us, but you can go out there and do it yourself and be successful at that. And it's also very helpful to know when we achieve our goal. I think I used today in the email a quick text I received from a client yesterday. The first bid we helped him with, he actually won it, and I had confidence to begin with he was going to win it. And so that was, I think, refreshing and always encouraging, and that's frequent. A lot of clients who work with us win that first bid. It's just the reason why is because you listen a little bit, I think, and then you follow instructions, and that's important. Anytime you're dealing with a government contract specifically, and you listen to what the government wants and you follow instructions that are given to you, and you'll automatically move to the top of the list. I've learned that from my background. Here's just a brief bio. You can go to LinkedIn and check us out, and check me out specifically. But I've worked in this field for 3 decades now, and we have over 120,000 member companies. Really, it's over 125,000 now, and all seeking assistance in this contracting space. I also happen to enjoy my work, and hopefully it comes across that way, but I serve as an adjunct professor with my alma mater at the University of Georgia, where I also teach in a graduate program. Just finished a class this past Wednesday. It just gave the grades out, and everybody's happy since I gave everybody A's. So they're all good. These are future contracting officers who are learning how to write the RFPs that you are going to respond to. In my work here in the business, I teach you what they're actually looking for, so you can get in there and help you understand how to respond to them. Today, this particular session I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the structure of our RFP. I'm going to explain to you each section and their importance, and then I'm going to give an actual example and using some tools, some AI tools, to help you see how it really works to get the information that you need. And I'll actually start a response for you and start with a layout. I'm gonna go through this in somewhat of a speedy way. You want to spend a little bit more time learning on each section as you might expect to, but today I'll give you that outline, okay? And I always like to start off with this slide. I use it in all my presentations. It's supposed to be hard. If it were easy, everyone would do it. And that's a Tom Hanks, and it's about a softball team. In fact, he was coaching the softball team in this movie, but he said this, and like, everybody can get out there and play softball, but if you want to be the best, you got to practice. It's hard, and you got to do it, follow all the steps, follow all the rules, and make it happen. And I like to use that whenever I'm talking about government contracting to my clients. In addition, it's also important to understand what you're actually doing when you're in this field. The first thing you learn is that governments are engaging with you as a private company. It's a philosophy of ours, specifically in the United States, where government it's better for them to contract with a firm, sort of the theory of the firm, why we do things, because you do it better. You're subject matter expertise in your field, and they're looking for you as a private company to help them solve a problem or provide a service that they're seeking. It's more cost effective for them to do it that way. And so they reach out to the market and they're asking you for some responses, and they'll use all different kinds of contracting instruments to get your attention. First, a request for information or a source of salt or request for qualifications, where you're trying to tell the marketplace, hey, this is what we need. This is what we're hoping to get. And is there anybody who's willing to help us? And then you're asked to respond back and say, yes, here we are. We can help you with that. And these are used commonly at all levels of government, local, state, and federal, as well as in prime seeking subs. And specifically whenever they're trying to bring in specific types of demographics to help them out with projects, to see if that demographic need is there, or that skill set, or that is actually there. And so you got to pay attention to those. Those are oftentimes will lead. I always get these comments: how do I learn about micro purchases, or those no bid situations? Well, this is the way to do it. Getting in there and helping governments to know that you're in that field so they can call you. But those, just so don't ignore those simply because it's not a straight up bid or a straight up a request for a proposal. It doesn't mean you need to walk by it, because those are oftentimes the best contracts that you can win. And then we have the more traditional bidding. That is and they give you, hey, I need a quote. I need an actual bid or request for a bid, or I need a proposal from you. And those are the documentations that are used where they actually spell out the specific items that they're looking for, specifications for a product or a service or supply. And so and those are other forms that they're, but multiple forms. But the good news is they all actually sort of are trying to achieve the same objective. And my favorite, of course, is the request for proposal. And that's what I always just talk, not talking in general, because the RFP allows you to shine as a company. You're actually there and you've got a subject matter expertise, and they're asking you to give them an actual proposal on what they need to do. Government kind of knows what they need, but they're asking you to actually do that. If you don't mind, please maintain the mute status. It really helps everybody else. And I will put that on there when necessary. Okay. Just maintain that mute. If you have a question, interrupt, and I'll be glad to stop. Okay. With that said, here I'll give you a definition, the pure definition of what an RFP is, because it's really important. A lot of times I get calls from clients or potential clients or new contractors and say, I'm looking at all these bids. I think I got 53,000 bids listed today on our site that are out there, almost 5,000 new ones a day, about 1.5 million a year. And they said, aren't these done deals? And I was like, no, they're not. They're actually calls for solicitations. Why would a government go to the trouble of preparing all of these documents when it's a done deal? Okay. So it's important to understand that it's an elaborate decision-making process that culminates with this request. So it's a solicitation. They want you to respond. They're trying to get your attention, and you have a shot at it when you see that. Okay. It's done by an agency or company that wants to procure something of value to them. Okay. And so they're asking everyone in the marketplace to tell them if you can meet that need. And so that's important for you to understand as well, because when you respond, they're looking for you to give them a business proposal. They want you to take it serious on the other side. And they want you to read through everything they've asked for, give them what they're seeking with a price that's competitive. They want you to make money. There's not a part where it's a game where they're trying to squeeze every penny out of you. They want you to make money, want it to be a successful transaction between both parties. And so that's important. This is a pure definition of what an RFP is. And whenever you do that, whenever you're looking at them, it's important that you understand the parts of those. And they all come together, even the ones, all the ones I've talked about, you'll see these common parts in each of them. And that is, they want to give you a statement of work. This is what they're looking to do. Okay. And frankly, I'll stop there because that is so important. The statement of work. When you read that, that's the first thing I go to with any RFP that I look at, or bid or quote. Okay. I take that, usually about a paragraph it's long, the shorter the better, I think. But there is government's responsibility in that statement of work to be, the ABCs: accuracy, brevity, clarity, be clear. But when you read that, it really needs to sing a song in your head. Say, hey, this is the one I wanted to find. That old Coldplay song. So I use a slide here to say that you're the one that I wanted to find. If it doesn't start playing in your head, in the back of the head, you need to walk away from it. It's not your bid. And whenever I get on a call from a client or somebody's calling me and they say, I found this perfect bid. It's perfect for me. I really like to hear that, because that means they've got a really good shot at it. In fact, that increases their odds of winning significantly. When you actually bid on something that doesn't say that to you, I would say that very, very likely you're not going to win it. So you're just wasting your time. Maybe you learn it in some way, but it's a waste of time. Second, technical specs. So if you pass that first test, first of all, if you get there, that statement of work doesn't start playing this song, you're the one I want to find, then move along. Don't even worry with the rest of it. It's a $7 trillion marketplace. We passed that. This coming year is going to be the largest spending period in American history at every level of government, including local and state governments who have been sitting on piles of cash now already actually stepping out there and spending money. Georgia's just passed, I think it was a $36 billion budget. It's the largest spending period for the state in our history. So everybody's spending, everybody's buying. There's opportunity, and just can't stress that enough. So when you look at the work, it should speak to you. You're going to have plenty of work. Technical specs to start matching you, but you don't have to have 100% match on those. Get a high degree of match, okay, and you can pull there. Those can change. A schedule. How are you going to work with someone? Schedule oftentimes drives your price. If they need something done quickly, I'm going to charge them more money than it is if they work within my schedule, which gives me a little bit more flexibility. Okay, and also schedule on the other side is how do I want me to respond back to the RFP? What's my timing? Knowing when the pre-bid meeting is, knowing when they have questions, the time deadline for those, knowing when you actually have the RFP in. You don't want to get there the day late. That's not going to do anybody any good. Okay, they don't take it. Then your contract terms and conditions. I'll go ahead and lay that out usually with government. No, you got to live with those. Governments don't change things. And so when you see that, you got to be able to work within it. And sometimes they will ask if you want some changes, but I rarely see anybody making changes for you. Also, this is where your profit center at. So we talked about forbearance and things that the technical parts of it. What happens if there's a mistake? How am I going to rectify that? Okay, and so forth. You formatted your proposal. How are you going to respond back to it? And pay particular attention to that. In fact, once I look at the statement of work, oftentimes I'll quickly look at the formatted proposal, see what they really are looking for, and my response back to them. And I'll kind of step back and forth through it. Then look at your qualifications and experience. Qualifications and experience are important. Okay, know that oftentimes they'll give you here's the preferred, and sometimes it's mandatory, sometimes it's minimum. And so you want to watch for those words. If it's mandatory and I don't have it, then maybe I will walk away from it. But if it's minimum, and they're looking at some other things that I might say, hey, yeah, I'll go ahead and respond back to it and kind of hopefully be able to sell myself, almost like I was applying for a job. Because it's ideal, they'll want certain things, but not always going to be able to get it. Okay, so if you're there and they still don't have it, then maybe they're going to consider you. So know that. Okay, going into cost breakdown, be able to be able to explain how you're going to bill for something and you're going to pay for something. I know, honestly, one of my things my mom always taught me when I was young is that don't be afraid to ask for money. And when you do something, in fact, I had an uncle one time had me go cut his grass and forgot to ask him how much it's going to pay me. And at the end, he said, "Thanks for doing that." And that was it. And he said, "I'm teaching you a valuable lesson. Always know how much to charge." So you got to sit down and start thinking about something, and whenever you do it, and that's important. And I'm not even kidding about my uncle. He actually did that to me. That was not fun, but it did teach me a lesson. So I always ask for what I'm worth whenever I up front, and know that. So look at different ways to do that. And look at ways, and sometimes you're per hour, sometimes you're per acre, sometimes you're per month. It doesn't, go in there and think about that. And then always look at the evaluation criteria, because the goal when you're looking at any of these is to get 100% on those evaluation criteria. And that's the only thing they can measure you for. So we're going to talk about some of those today. But once again, statement of work, most important, needs to sing that song, "You're the one I wanted to find." And you're going to find you have success with that. And a lot of times the way they really to do that is to really fully understand your capabilities, having those keywords match up in some way. That's one reason why the federal government specifically likes for you to have the capability statement. And so we talk about that over and over again. You should have this ready to go already. If you're in the session with me today, you should have a capability statement. If you don't, then you're behind and you need to get that done. We have videos on how to get that done. We also have technical assistants to help you with that. But have that capability statement, speak to what you do. The scope of work should be matching up to that. And it's important. Local and state governments, not so much, but you're seeing them more and more ask for this. And 5 years ago, no level of government were really requesting these. So that's there for that. Tips. When you look at a proposal, read the entire proposal. Pay attention to the areas that I've discussed with you specifically. Okay. Set it aside and think about it. Okay. And then talk to your colleagues. Make sure you really are a good fit. And do this all within the time available for its completion, because work expands, as you know, to fill the time available for its completion. So you need to be prepared. If you see a bid, RFP in 3 days, that you can get it done in 3 days. It's possible. Okay, you got everything ready to go. I'm going to show you how to get organized now. You got 2 months, take 2 months. Okay. Don't get it out there too quick. I have one client, they want to get things done very quick. I say, you got to wait until the questions are answered. You got to wait for this, you got to wait for that, because you just don't want to get in there too early. Okay. And that's important. I also have clients who come in and they listen on YouTube and they think they got to do 10, 20 of these a month. It doesn't, it's not, you don't just want to do scattershot. You want to go out there and you want to pinpoint your opportunity. Make sure that, first of all, the scope of work is that you're the one I wanted to find. Go back to that. And then if it is, then step in and complete it. But if you look at a bid and say, I think I could do this, that's not a good bid. Okay. You don't need to be doing that. You need to say right away when you see it, I can do this. And those are the ones you really go after. And you do that by organization, by understanding who you are, making sure your capabilities are there. And do things that are cost effective for you. Okay. And so use a Google Drive. I do that. I'm gonna show you how to use that now. It's free. Okay, for goodness sake. There's other tools that are out there. I like them. In fact, Monday.com is one of my favorite. It actually organizes things, allows you to work collaboratively. You can go out there and use that, and you can store things. Not too expensive. It's a monthly fee kind of thing. But you can do it. It's with a little bit more effort on the Google Drive, and I like those, and it's completely free there. Always develop your indicators of success. Sometimes you may even want to set up a little form in your Drive that answer specific questions that you're looking for. Okay, so for example, when I look for a bid, it's got to be within maybe about 30 minutes of a fishing hole that there's a good trout stream. Okay, and if it is, then that's one that indicates. I kid a little bit about that, but it's the truth. I want to use a work-life balance. I want to make sure that I'm successful in both sides of that, and so it's important. That's an indicator of my success. Build those in there. Okay, that's important.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just starting, and I have all my SIM stuff done. I started to get the request from the match thing that the SBA has. But here's the thing. So my background is in IT. I've been doing it for 30 years. So I went from hardware to cyber. And I saw a bid that was in Nevada for a laser, which I own a laser. So I contacted the company and I told them that this was going to be a government resell and that I needed the lowest price and to include shipping. And I asked them for a PDF also with the following specs, because I read the specs that the government was asking for. Is it too early for me to be doing this? Because I don't even have a capability statement. I just got my stuff like last week. And I just a little while ago finished setting up my business banking account.
It's a lot of different questions in one there. First of all,
I know. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, that's fine. No, good questions. You know better than I do if you're ready to go. Okay, or even so you got to understand this. So if you're brand new, the hesitancy that you just express there suggests to me maybe not quite yet. And you need to really step back and and make sure you got everything in order, but especially you got a bank account. That's something that most of us have. You got to have a little bit of business experience. It's important. You got to think about it this way. If you were having someone come in and redo your roof, would you want someone who's never done any roofing, or maybe doesn't have their bank account set up yet? And so you got to think about those kinds. So that's important. Your capability statement, things like that. Those are things that improve your business. Okay. So some of the things you mentioned.
The banking account is set up, and I have been a government contractor for 12 years, not being on this end of offering my services, but working for the government for 12 years. So I'm very, familiar with how they do things. But I'm just
saying,
like
you're improving right there. You're telling me some more information that's positive. Yeah. I'm a big believer in exponential approach. Okay. So when you take a bid, and I'm going to show you that here today, and I appreciate the questions you have, Chelsea, and I'll try to incorporate some of those. But whenever you start going into this, the first thing you want to do is take that bid, and the questions that you ask, you started off there, first of all, to the contractor are fair questions, and yes, ask the questions that you have. Do it in what method that they have instructed you to do it in. Okay, never go outside that method. Okay, and I'll show you that in just some of those in just a second. But then take that bid and then read through it 100%. Use that approach that I just said. Read the entire proposal. Pay attention to those areas. Okay, each of these areas, what they're looking for. Okay, write down the things you don't know, the things you don't understand. Set those aside and read them over again. Okay, and then you will find that's a great way to see if you're ready. If you got a lot of them, you're probably not ready. Okay, but if there's only a few of them, you're probably ready. So that's about what I think on average most of us would have in particular ones, and see if you can get the answers to those. Okay, but if you go through, and most of us do, you look at it. If you're in business, you'll know the answer to almost all the questions. And I'm not talking about the a lot of the government teas kind of things. There's some things like this form or that form. Those kind of come when you learn. You got to get the E-Verify done. You got to get the W-9 in place. You got to get those are just things that you got to get done. Okay, those can all be done in time. You can Google it and you can find the answer to it, and so forth. But how to prepare and actually do your work, that's kind of you got to know that. I get customers or clients call us routinely and say, I've never actually bid on this particular type of product. That kind of right away makes me wonder. Okay, are you ready? Is that customer ready? But if you've been doing contracting and if you've been doing and you understand what they're looking for, just following through the steps, I think everybody can do that to some extent. Okay, hopefully that's helpful. We actually step through. We have writings. Everything we do is experiential. So it's about diving in and do that. And because I'm a big believer, and like I said, only source of knowledge is really experience. And that's Einstein's quote. And so I'll step through there and let's just take a look at some actual RFPs. Let me look over here and see what's going on in the chat. Make sure there's any questions to see there. I see folks answering questions for each other. Thank you. That's always helpful. And one of those specifically about looking for pricing. You can almost always go online and see where pricing's at. I teach you how to do that. We have another class on research, but I always go back and see who won and what price. It's helpful for me. And so you can find that through the minutes of meetings, the agendas of meetings, and you can see that and you can do some data analytics and get straight to where you really need to be bidding and winning. Okay. One thing I like to do is kind of show you how I actually go in and find. Okay. And when you find a bid at our site, and the first thing is you have to be logged in at RFP Delivery. Okay. And I've got a demo account here. It's set up and various categories. And you can't see what your competitors are proposing. Somebody asked, how do we see what their competitors are proposing? Until after sometimes there's drafts of responses. I can show you some in just a minute as we get to some of that. I go in here and there's filters. First of all, I always make sure my settings are set up. Okay, and the industries I'm looking for, location. As you know, there are a lot of different coding mechanisms that state and local governments will use as well as the federal government. Federal government uses NAICS codes. State and local governments primarily probably the NIGP or the United Nations Standardization Code. So there's different types of coding mechanisms. So we use categorizations, industries, and we crosswalk all of them. So if you're doing, for example, human resources, then it doesn't matter which NAICS code they use, 561120, or what NIGP commodity code they use, or so forth. We're walking that to the human resource consulting category. And location, nowadays, unless you're actually doing maybe a trade where you go on site, most everybody can work anywhere. I'm sitting here working in my rooftop office, and you can see in the background. You'll probably see the city of Atlanta over there. So it's so we work anywhere. But I do work in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming. Some of my favorite places to work. And so there you can monitor those. Make sure you get your daily alert. The daily alert is a 24-hour review only. We don't send the same things over and over again. Your app, download that if you don't have that, is an instant look. So it takes away the concept of time. Don't have to wait. You can save your filters, run your filters at any time, many as you like. Get very precise. Same as your keywords, very elaborate. Boolean search technique, get very specific. Run those anytime. You'll always see the most recent first. In your account, when you get here, you can always go back to the main board, click any human figure. There we go. Self-managed system. If you don't have your capability statement, you can come here and learn, or you can upload your capabilities. We also provide you a link, so then you can actually link to that and put it in the profile for SBA. That's an important part. If you don't have your SBA profile done right, you're going to miss out on a lot of different listings, potentially your micro purchases or those no bid situations where they call up. That's how they find you. Okay, it's important that you fully understand that. Filters, within filters on the left side. So, for example, I'm looking for maybe I do a lot of staffing studies, or I do classification work, and I like to use that because that's not something I know. So I can go in and come human resources. I can go in there and look at compensation. Okay, and this would be this word within that category, potentially within the states. I can add as many of these advanced search techniques. Maybe I won't just federal ones, set asides only at the federal level, not local and state. There we have preference systems, thanks to the Richmond decision. NAICS codes, but if I add those, I'm only getting federal. Okay, so you're screening out others. Same with PSC code. Save your filter, it applies at the same time, runs. Left-hand side, so I've got 6 bids I can bid on potentially right now, see where they're at with the map view. This side, I potentially, go back into home, is where I can do a global keyword search. Okay, so I might want to do compensation study, Boolean search technique. Those 2 words have to be together, or expansive and limiting. Okay, those 2 words together, search it. If I like it, I can save it, save my keyword search, run it at any time. Okay, I've already saved those, so I know that. Okay, map view, see where they're at. Here's one in Texas, one in California, Utah. Okay, see if I got one. I'll go back and see if I can find some others. Let's go back real quick. I like Georgia. So let's see if there's anything in Georgia. So I'll go back in, consulting. Maybe I don't want to just limit myself just to those words. I just want the category. Okay. Apply it, run it. Let's go back in. Staffing augmentation, comprehensive study, Alaska. I like Alaska. So California. Socially share. This is telling you what level of government, when the due date is. California. Comprehensive needs. California, state and local. Let's go in there, see what's going on here. Here in Hillsborough, California. I don't work much in California, but it's a county Hillsborough. Let's see what's going on. It's due May 17th. The interest, give me a summary, gives me intelligence, nothing. Our research staff got 20 people working on your behalf. It's in Hillsborough. Here's the phone number. A lot of times it's an individual. Smaller governments, traditionally you're going in and responding just to the office, and anybody can help you. Okay, capture it. It's called capturing the bid. You don't lose it, because on May 17th it's going to disappear. Plus, you can see a lot of bids each day, about 5,000. You don't want to get lost. Do your capture bids there. Step in, go to the external link. Here's the bid. Okay, so I got a proposal. I'm interested. It's due May 17th. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use myself. I'm going to have myself a Google Drive set up. Okay, I'm going to use Google Drive because it's helpful for you to do that easier. It's cost effective. Here's the primary folders I'm going to use for myself. First of all, I'm going to always keep my logo here. But if you don't have a logo, get yourself a logo. Okay, they're not easy. You can go on Fiverr, 25, 30 bucks, get you a logo. Keep it, make sure it's transparent, PNG file. Okay, something easy you can put onto a Google document. Okay, here's a sample. I use mine. Make sure you got your capability statement ready to go at all times. Here's a sample. I got them in there. You should have one. Okay, very straightforward. Always speak to your mission, your competencies, your past performance, your differentiators. These are the things that the government actually seeks. Okay, if I'm not using this one, I potentially use it later on as a placard or place setting when I go in and do a pitch. Okay, or I'm using it on my backboard whenever I'm making a presentation of some sort. Okay, so you have that ready to go. Also, in here, I'm gonna have my templates ready to go. Okay, have my cover letter, because I'm gonna use it for every proposal. It's a business proposal. Send a nice letter. Okay, it's always there. Whenever I do it, I'm gonna always have my logo. The systems are so easy. I'm gonna have it set up so I can actually just come in and insert my image on this drive. There's my logo. It drops in, ready to go. Put my date on there. Date. I'm always going to date it though, the date that the bid's due. In this case, here's May 17th. Okay. I'm going to start laying it out. Okay, May 17th. Okay. Build it all. Give myself an opening paragraph. Opening paragraph. The first paragraph tells them what I'm doing. Okay, I'm responding to this bid. Here's the bid number. Here's my company name and what I do. For a second, this is my story. Take a minute, write yourself basically a 3 to 5 sentence story about your company, how well you did, the biggest thing you ever done, the best thing you ever did. Okay, tell yourself. Nobody else is going to sell yourself. Nobody's going to sell your company except you. Okay, remember that. So take some time. This is what you talk about at a dinner party, something you tell somebody, hey, this is what I did recently. This is why I'm so great and how it's going to help them. Okay, you want to frame it toward this individual bid, but it's a sale. Okay, the last paragraph is basically you've read everything they've asked you to read. You responded to them in the right way, and you give them any kind of affirmations they've asked for. Oftentimes they'll ask you to affirm that you looked at all the addendums. Okay, always make sure in your cover letter you got your address at the bottom. Okay, I always like to go in and actually do a differentiator of some sort, like I can go in here and insert my maybe insert a horizontal line or something. Okay, keeps it separate. Okay, always if you go to page 2, always make sure you put at the top who you're addressing and what it's for. Okay, keep it organized. Always paginate, making sure that it comes together so that there's not a misplacement of data. Okay, and that's important. When you go in, you're also the template you're going to need is on the proposal is your cover sheet. Okay, cover sheet is going to be proposal response, RFP name. Okay, in this case here, it's going to be a request for proposal for a comprehensive classification compensation study. I'm going to drop in that name and that information. Oftentimes, what I'll do, I'm going to start closing off some of these windows so they don't pop up by mistake. Okay. When I go in there, I will actually use this. There's something so simple like this. Go in and cut it. Okay. Go into that template. And almost that because I had things up again, just a real quick cut and paste. So yeah, simple these things are usually. And I'm not getting to it in time because I got so many windows open, but I can then go in and just insert it, image, upload my from computer. I just cut it, paste it. It went to my desktop. And then I take that image, pull it down. Makes it look good, does it? Yeah, I think they've got a professional graphic designer, and I have very limited skill sets. So I'll put that in there, and so they have their image in there. Then my image down here. Okay, insert image from my drive again. Okay, so I'm branding it. Okay, put the date in there. Then I always have the date that is due. Okay, whenever you do this for the bid, it's May 17th. Okay, and I'm gonna put some key information. In this case here, it's going to be my name, my address, my website. I'm always going to put my UEI now. Potentially, if I'm a California company, I'm going to put my California certification. If I'm in Maryland, I'll put my Maryland certificate, whatever it is, okay? Give them the basic details, how to get in touch with me, all the address information, detail who the principal is, any key information on the front page, okay, on the cover sheet, okay? Going in, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert table of contents, okay? Insert. And I'm going to do one unless they tell me not to do one. Okay, that's going to be my rule. Google allows me to do that. This keeps it organized. Okay, and I'm going to start doing a page break. And it's also important when you do your initial cover page, always do it. I like to just do a section break. Okay? That way it keeps it paginated in the right way. You don't have to worry about it later on. Okay. Start my proposal here. And I was always, before I even do anything, okay, I'm going to start with an executive summary of some sort. Okay. And I haven't even looked to see what they want yet. Okay. Page break here. Executive summary. And this is where I'm going to tell them about my company. Just, have this ready to go. I'm going to just drop it in here. Maybe a 5-paragraph executive summary, strong. Here's who we are, when I was formed, here's what my goal, my mission are, and have that ready to go right up front. But let's go back and see, because the first thing I'm going to do, I told you earlier, what I tell you to do, go in there and look at the scope, the mission. They're going to give me some background. This is where I'm going to start looking at some key piece of information that they have, okay? That's going to help me determine whether or not I'm going to bid on something. This is the indicators of success, okay? If I see this. Now, County Hillsborough and San Mateo County, anytime I work in California, I really like working there. It's a great place to visit. It's just there. This year is going to be a smaller town too. It's right in my wheelhouse. I don't work with large cities. I usually work with those that have 50 to maybe 300 population, employees. So this is really perfect for me. Okay. So these are indicators I'm looking at. They have a police department, public works department, building planning, perfect city for my size of business and what I like to do. Been doing this. I worked in 34 states and some 400 plus projects I've won going in there. And so knowing where to bid at. When I bid, I'm starting to look at these specific items. This has been proposed in the 24 to 25 budget. And I might go in there and go ahead and start looking at budget. They might have a line item for how much they plan on paying for this project and for the study to help me out. Okay, they got an organizational chart. So here's their scope. This is the first thing I'm looking at. Okay, and what they want me to do. They're telling me in Exhibit A, so I'm gonna have to pop down to Exhibit A. If they had this set up right, I could easily just click on that and see it. So I'm gonna go in there and look. So this one wasn't so clear. So I'm gonna go. Let's just go down to Exhibit A. I'm gonna skip on because that's the first thing I really want to do is to make sure that this is a project that I can do and it is of interest to me. Okay, Exhibit A. This is probably their more than just the scope. B here. It's more the individual services. Okay, so I'm gonna look at here. I do classification. Yes, it's perfect for me. Orientation. I do that. That's part of my work method. I do a questionnaire. All these things are yep. Perfect. This is perfect for me. Okay. So I'm looking at these items. Now, as I'm going through here, I'm going to start reading through it, start using some of the same language that they use. Okay. I'm paying attention to this organization. In fact, what I'm probably going to do in this one is actually go back and take a look at the last few council meetings and look at some votes. Okay. See if they're all unanimous. That's a good place to be. If they're all fighting, it's 3-4, 3-4 or something like that. You may not want to be there. Okay. Pay attention to the organization itself and the culture and understand when you're going to get in there. Because I still might want to work with them, but I might want to charge them a little bit more money. Okay. Because they typically are hard to get along with if it's a constant 3-4 votes, things like that. I think we all see that. Here's a content format proposal. Okay. They're telling me how they want me to do it. I should pay attention to that. Be concise, well organized, demonstrate qualities. Okay. They want my name, my company, my qualifications, description of what I'm doing, factors, provide a timeline. In fact, I can't copy and paste this one from the internet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just download this real quick so I can do this behind the scenes and show you how I lay it out. Okay. And I'll do that while just a quick thing. Okay. As I go through here, they're going to want me to have some insurance. Okay. If I only have $1 million, I'll need to go back and price it because I only have $1 million and they want $2 million. So it's probably going to be twice. So I need to be able to, I'm going to put that in my cost of doing business. Okay. Also going to require me to get a local business license, but I don't have to get that until I win the contract. But I might want to step in there just to see how much it is, okay? Included in my cost. They want 3 copies of the proposal. Okay. Sometimes it's electronic. Sometimes they want me to hand deliver it. If I want 3 copies, I got to prepare 3 copies. Okay. It's a selection process. It's important because this is how they're telling me how they're going to hire me. They want me to be independent, authorized to do business in California. No conflict of interest. Clarity, understanding the scope, skills and experience. Nothing hard. Okay. Straightforward. How they're going to organize it, protest. The rest of it, I don't want to have to pay so much attention to that. I want to need to know, but it's not so important. Okay. Here's the deadline, May 8th for questions. Can't ask questions on May 9th. Gotta have it ready to go. Well, I wait till May 10th, which is Friday, for them to give the responses before I actually finalize my project. And they may extend the date sometimes because of that. That's why I wait. The other is it's due May 17th. Okay. And they're going to have an answer before the end of May. It looks like that's good. Here's how they want me to submit it. It needs to be confidential. If anything is confidential, I got to mark it. That's what they tell me there. How it's going to be delivered. It does have to be delivered. It looks like in person. Okay. So I got to send it by Wednesday, most likely. Okay. Never used the post office. Negative on them, but you need to get it sealed and delivered appropriately. So make sure it's overnighted, mailed to them, or you can deliver it. Okay. If you got any exceptions, any amendments, any cancellations, these are just basic information. Here's a scope of services. Okay. And here's my contract. Okay. So if I'm looking at my proposal that I'm actually going to do, which I've got laid out here. Okay. I'm going to go in, I'm going to take that document that they have prepared for me. And since they've done such a good job at doing that, I'm going to take them for their word and give them what they want. Okay? And I'm going to start by taking too many documents. This is live, folks. So okay, should be open. The PDF. I'll show you what I'm looking at so you can see as well. So you make sure you got these basic tools on your desktop that you can use. It's Adobe. Okay. Go in. Nothing like borrowing the information when they tell you what they want. Pay attention to it. Content proposal. Like that. This is going to be my format. And then I'm going to break it out. Okay. Remember, I'm going to give them an executive statement. This is going to be my mission statement. Okay. As I'm building, what I'm going to do is always make sure I use a standard font. Okay. I get so many proposals sometimes that are in all kind of fancy fonts of some sort. You know, it's good. Don't use that for a business proposal. Use Arial and use 12. Okay. Just be consistent. This way, because what happens sometimes you send it to them and then they open it up and have the same font is all messed up and it's just not the best thing to do. So keep something simple. Keep it straightforward. 12 font, Arial. Occasionally you can use Times New Roman. Choose one of those. Okay. Those are the primary fonts. When you do set, you set this up, okay, and use your basic text definition, okay, and this will allow you to come in, do first probably heading 2 for each of these. So here's my executive summary, okay. And then step down. If you have keywords or key sections, use a section. Do heading 3, potentially heading 4, nothing below heading 4. Okay, use through 2 headings, and I'll show you why in a minute. If you also, when you find keywords that match, make it bold. Okay, go through bold. Okay, and do that. Use the same information that they have. Okay, and I'm going to even break it down just like this. This is how I'm going to lay it out. Okay, qualifications, demonstrate the knowledge, experience, capability. If you need some help with AI, take it. Okay, they got tools now with any of these. This is a little thing up here. Okay, well, Mark, I can help you write. I don't like to use that, to be honest with you, but you can use it if you need help pull into words. I like the old-fashioned way to start out with the way you would normally talk and then edit it. My knowledge is based on 30 years experience. Okay, tell them as if you were talking to them. Okay, and then come back and wordsmith it later. Okay? And you build that, and that's the best way to do it. The best way to approach straightforward honesty. Okay? Accuracy, brevity, clarity. Be accurate in everything you say. Your description and history of the firm, including the number about business. See, they tell me exactly what they want. I don't have to create anything, and I don't need to give them information they're not requesting either. Don't bog them down with unnecessary details. Okay, and when you set this up, now the good news is when you went through and you actually started doing these sections, you started creating work for yourself, and it actually starts You see how I did that? That was easy. And you're able to go in there and you do that. You know, it really just shows you that you're accomplishing something. So here we are. We've sat together for just a few minutes, and I've already got half my proposal done. Okay, I can have this proposal because I have in my folder. We started off earlier. Okay, let me go into my Google Drive. Oh, maybe I closed my Google Drive. But you'll see here my templates. Okay, in my folder, I'm gonna have this other area called components. Okay, I'm gonna have my executive summary already written, and I'm just gonna clip and paste it. I'm gonna have my qualifications, my resume, everything, answers to some of these questions that they have. I'm gonna have it ready to go, so I can just drop it in there. I can have this out by this evening if I need to. And I just found this RFP today. I can have a response. Now I'm not gonna send it off today because it's not due until 17th, and not only that, but I gotta wait for the questions and answers, which are due the 10th. And so I'm going to wait on that, but I'm going to go ahead and get it laid out. How I'm going to do that. My pricing, I'm going to go out there and do some research. In fact, we got just a few minutes. I'll show you how you do some of that research. I've been on a project one time in this town, Carter County, Tennessee. This is right before the, there we go. And I went straight to it. It's the financial management. Too quick there. Let me go back and show you how I would normally organize it. Okay. Carter County. Go out there and find it. It's a town, it's a one that's close by. It was right in our wheelhouse. It got narrowed down to the top 3, I think, when they made a presentation. And so they had all the bids online. We found it online. They also have their agenda meetings, their agendas, boards and commissions, okay. Agendas and minutes. Okay, I can go in there. Financial management was the committee that I spoke to. And then when I went in there, I found the meeting that I spoke at. Okay, here, December 2nd, gave them a presentation. They talked about the bid prices for my competition and ourselves. Okay. I went in there, I learned what they said, how they went about ranking us. Okay, and here's the company I represented at the time. And then I went in there and they voted to include us to come back in. And here, let's see here, did they talk about? This is the one, but in this one here, they actually this is not the one. So this is the one where we followed them to see, and I had to keep following them. So that was that meeting there. And then let's go in here. I think it was this particular one. Let me go back in there. December 2nd there. Okay. I think it was February 3rd. I went back, spoke to them. So you have to kind of bounce around sometimes looking at what they're doing and what they're talking about. Okay, and find it. See, maybe I jumped ahead too far. Yep, let me get back in. This is exactly how you do it, though. Okay, very good. Came in here, presentations. Here we go. Here I am, Mr. Knowles. I did this presentation. They met. They talked about it. In this particular case, I did a really good job. They even said that. Okay. They came in. I didn't win the contract. There's a reason why I didn't win the contract, but I don't want to go into that. But they did a scoring rubric. Okay, this is how they made their decision. All of this is public information. They actually went in and darkened this out, and I went in there and figured out where I was at because I knew what cost I had. And you see here, I was not the low by any means. I was at 75th. I was in the 75th percentile. Everything I do is always 75th percentile. That means that 75% bid lower than me, 25% bid higher. I know exactly where to be at on our bid. I've done enough of this at predictive analytics. I can basically tell where folks are going to bid at. Okay, you get to that point. Okay, I look at all these details and see where I scored high, where I scored low. I can improve in the future if necessary. But in this particular case, when I looked through everything, I realized it really wasn't anything I did. There's a lot of studies that have been done on how decision making occurs, but social and emotional factors have a lot of influence. And sometimes they're out beyond your control. So you don't need to change everything you do simply because a decision doesn't go your way. In this particular case, there were some social factors and some emotional factors that played in, including somebody knowing somebody and things like that. And I picked up on it and I actually read the minutes And then I just understood the decision just didn't go my way, and I just had to do that. But this is how you do your research. Know where you're going to go when you find, and you pay your attention to them after the fact. I knew that they weren't going to hire us before they called us. Okay, and I do that. Sometimes I listen to conversations online. I never wait in a room though to find out. I always get up and leave respectively so they can discuss things. But you can usually hear it nowadays. Everything's recorded, so you pay that attention. So there we are. We spent an hour together today. And I've tried to walk you through a variety of ways to learn more about government contracting. We go over and see what kind of questions and we have in the chat room. Feel free to ask me questions now if you have any. And anything else you wanted to cover, they would be good. Okay. So I'm going to actually start at the bottom. This particular session will be available on YouTube Live. In fact, I'm canceling the YouTube Live now. Thank you everybody for coming.